Nothing. The president spent 4 nights in the hospital. We learned overnight.
For the average of the 3 restaurants.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Now,
it's another episode
then I
of
also
the
did Newton
Village
South.
Square
Newton
live
South is even
on
over
Afro
3
Surge
times.
Radio. We are
We have
having some
over 3
technical
times the
difficulties,
density
so but I
in
think
Boston Prep than
our
Newton South.
man Shupa is on
Okay.
the case, so we possibly
Now,
could be
what is
broadcasting
actually
soon.
really, really
but I do
scary
not
when you
know.
now look at
Right.
this average
Oh, no.
saturation here.
All right.
The
so let me
Jeremiah
get
E.
started.
Burke
I'm
has
right
9
on-
restaurants.
All right, so
9,
yes,
3 Burger Kings.
my goodness.
I average
It's been a
average
while.
distance between 3
Last week
Burger
we had
Kings,
some
3
technical
McDonald's, and 3
difficulties. My
Wendy's.
computer
The closest
just
3.
fried on me,
And
so I had
the
to buy a
average
new
is
computer,
1.5
and that's
miles.
why we're having a little bit of
So I'm an
technical
engineer. I'm only
difficulties
here
today
to tell
because
you how
obviously
close it
we have to
is
do some
to
collaboration,
schools.
some
The health,
you know,
the
some
health ramifications.
technical
the kids
work
have
out the
already told
technical
you about,
kinks. But
and the
apart from that,
science
everything
is
has
very,
been going
very clear.
fine. It's been 2 weeks since I
The
seen you
science is
last.
so
Oh my
clear
God!
that
And of
the
course, you know
mayor
I was
of
dying
Boston
last week
on
because
June
of
12th this year, after George
our
Floyd's death,
the president called coronavirus. That was
declared
so
that
funny.
systemic
But what
racism,
can we do?
public health
So
crisis.
we're gonna get started in today's
So
show.
my
So
question
today
to
is
you
Village
is,
Square
does Burger King
Community
Boston
Zoom Cast
Prep
Wednesday,
qualify
October
as a
14th,
public health
2020
crisis?
at 8 o'clock, live
Thank you
on
very much for
AfroSurgeRadio.com, live
attending,
from
please.
Texas.
We're going to
So
get some
let's get into it.
It's
It's going to be
polling
actually
now.
a
I
very
want to thank you.
interesting
Please
show
go.
today.
You'll have all the
I'm going to
resources
do, you know,
in
of
the
course, I do my
resource page.
coronavirus update and
So I'm
everything,
going to launch
but
the
I'm
poll.
going to be doing
You
a
guys
little
please
bit of
answer all the
contrast
questions
and
on the poll.
comparison with what's going on here in
And I'm going to
Texas.
even allow my
Because,
panelists to
you
vote.
know, this is a red state.
So I'm
They
launching
say
the
they're
poll
trying to
now.
say it's
So
purple
please,
state, but I don't
everybody,
believe
would
them
like
yet.
to
So, you know, it is what it is.
And also, if you
answer the
came,
But yeah,
questions.
so
We'll-
what's going on in the
and we'll,
coronavirus update?
do that now.
also
Well,
if you came
we're up
in
to
late and you wanted to,
216,000
if you came in late and you want to be entered into
deaths
the Uber Eats
in the United
giveaway, please
States.
put your
So
name in
we
the chat. Right now we only have 4 names.
want to,
So if
you know,
just
send
wanna
our
be in the
condolences
giveaway,
out
put
because
down
these
your
are
name in
we
the chat.
say it like numbers, you know, but these are real people.
Very good.
You know, and we're
So
all
we'll give a
hoping
couple of minutes for
everybody still is
that.
safe
So this we're about to give
and
away the Uber
healthy.
Eats giveaway. Wait, if you
But how do we
win,
stay
we'll
safe?
ask you to share information
Wear a
to us
mask. You should see me coming over
privately,
here to Texas. I
and your
was
phone number and your address.
I had
Let me
the
not get
mask
address, your
on,
phone
another
number,
mask
email
on top of the
address.
mask. I'm
Email.
looking around anywhere I see a problem,
And
I'm
then,
bailing.
let
It
do you have any
really is
questions? I think
serious,
we have some
and
questions.
we're going into the second wave, and I think everybody can now understand what Dr.
didn't have anybody
Fauci and
put
the
any
rest of
questions
the
Does anybody
scientists
wanna
have been trying
ask
to
any
warn us
questions or
all
say
summer
anything?
what it
Can
will
raise
be
their
like, but
hands,
we don't
and I'll
listen. We know
and I'll
what we
unmute
want to
you.
do. We know how we
Okay.
roll.
I see
Hey,
Manuel.
after all, we're Americans. Hey, coronavirus is going to show us this.
Manuel,
this
I
and
think you
it's
can
not
unmute
funny,
now.
but
I saw his name up.
what can we do? If people don't think
Right.
that they
Anybody
they
else wanna,
could
ask
that
a
they
question?
should listen to the scientists, and people believe they can, you know, stubborn it away.
All right, very quiet
This
crowd.
last
That's- I
weekend
think everybody
in
really had a good
Florida,
time.
another
That's
red
about
state,
it.
they had a football game, the Florida Gators or
Please,
somebody,
let
I
me hear
forget,
what you have
it
to
wasn't,
say,
they didn't
Aaron.
care
If
who
you
was
wanna
playing, but it was a
something,
game in
it'd be nice for
Florida.
everybody's
They had
voice.
like 25,000 fans in the stands. And they're all holding hands and doing the wave
So-
and everything. And I'm looking at them like,
we'll wait to see who. Let's
oh
wait.
my
Don't
goodness.
yet. Let's to see
Serious?
who's gonna win the giveaway.
That's what it is.
The people.
Literally, they're letting
We
people,
got-
because
we
they've
still have
lifted
a
all
little- we're gonna have a
restrictions in
little
Florida
announcements to do.
right before the
And I
flu.
want you guys to see the results of the thing.
Maybe it doesn't affect the warmer climate like it does the hotter climate. That is true, but they were getting it in the summer, so I don't really,
Thank you.
I don't really see the, I don't really understand.
Appreciate it.
And this mentality, I think today's
Thank you
episode
very
is really
much.
going to
Really
focus
appreciate it.
on the misinformation and the amount of
All right, so the Uber giveaway. Now remember, you guys supposed to have this free giveaway. We have all the links in our resources,
just
and we want you to
disregard
go to one of the
for human
local
life.
restaurants around you.
And these are the pro-lifers, but I guess it's only pro-life
with this coronavirus, people
if you're
really
not
need a lot of
born.
money, and so
We
that's
don't have,
our
we're not
way
going to
of
go
giving
into
back
that. That's
to
a
the
whole nother
community.
show.
And hopefully you'll
But
learn about
it's the mentality.
that maybe you haven't
This
had before.
hard-headed mentality that refuses to conform to the federal government.
I think everybody voted.
And to me, that's all it is.
The polling in a little bit.
And
I'm going to give like another couple
you know,
of minutes.
you guys should know my take on it.
Guys,
I look at it as this is just a continuation of the Civil War. We're going to get into that, of course. We got a lot to do this week. We're going to do mostly on coronavirus, but yeah, it is. You know, we do have that Civil War issue that happened with the people that wanted to kidnap
everybody who came out.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into that right now.
Well,
so we're going to start today. Like I said, we have 216 deaths, and I'm going to do a little comparison with the numbers. In Massachusetts, we have 760 cases and 13 deaths in Massachusetts. And that death count is up. I think a week or two ago, we had no deaths on when I did the show.
Okay, I think you're giving enough time.
So it is going up. The cases at that time were like 200, 300. Now they're up to 760, which means in 2-3 weeks, we're going to start seeing an uptick in deaths. I think sometimes the terminology we use when we're dealing with the coronavirus is extremely dangerous because we say things like, oh, it's cases. Who cares about cases unless they lead? Because the only reason why I care about cases is because cases, a percentage of those cases lead to deaths. That's what we need to be talking about. And hospitalization. How many deaths? So when you see cases, just know that means deaths in 2 weeks.
All sorts of
and in Texas, they had 4,477 cases. This is October 12th. This is data from October 12th. I'm going to post that link again. So, like I said, Massachusetts, 760 cases with 13 deaths. And on the same October 12th in Texas, 4,047 cases and 26 deaths. Now, remember, this 26 deaths, you say, well, that's only... How come they have about 5 or 6 times more cases and only double the deaths? Because this is 2 weeks ago. Remember, these deaths are a reflection of the cases of 2 weeks ago. So we'll see. I'll check in 2 weeks and maybe I'll look at the numbers. Okay, so let's see what the poll said. Ending the polling. We need to stop being so casual about it. I'm gonna try as much as possible, and maybe it's scary. Guess what? So now I'm sharing dying is scary, and you don't know who's gonna die. So don't say, "Well, I'm helping." You don't know that. Yeah, most likely. I get it. It looks like if you're not one of those people, or you lose somebody, really, I think you'll change your tune. But until then, we're gonna march on. And like I said, the most amazing thing that happened in the last 2 weeks, and actually maybe a lesson, a cautionary tale, was our country is literally open for attack because the White House. Now, of course, we know the military leaders and everything are going to take care of everything. The country is going to keep on moving. I get that. I'm not trying to. What was that? Okay, what's the single most important African heritage in that sense? Connecting culture, cuisine, and health. Yeah, everybody. To have the whole White House apparatus. The White House is a ghost town. What enemy of culture? Because of the super spreader events. Advertising, media coverage. Okay, everybody. The super spreader event that allowed our government to now have even our president have the coronavirus. Then it just started happening one after the other. Everybody, Hope Hicks, this and that. Everybody was going. McEnany, whatever her name is. Everybody, the press secretary, all the people, even one of the joint chiefs of staff got infected because guess what? They were at the Supreme Court because they were trying to replace Ruth. It's 300 an hour. That was a trick one, guys. Bader. We were trying to see guys were paying attention. So because of that, these people decided that they were going to have a big thing in the big do
recipes
in the White House.
Clothing style,
South
manners, and
everybody's
etiquette.
there and
See what I
everybody's
said,
hugging.
guys? Manners.
Hey, how you doing,
Manners is a big one.
Yeah,
Everybody
guess who
likes
else was
that,
there?
that, you know, you're
Kororo, you know it.
Language, okay.
The Kororo was
skills.
up in the house,
So
having drinks, chilling, having fun.
That?
Hey, kisses, spreading to over 19, or I think it's like up to 21 now. 21 of the of the White House staff.
Cultural knowledge been beneficial.
So we don't have any. The West Wing is virtually a ghost.
And opportunities, building friendships.
And this, Dr. Fauci called this a super spreader event.
I don't have many Nigerians.
Now that super spreader event.
Really? We have to get.
I mean, it is probably the most famous. Is going to be the infamous super spreader event. The president gets helicoptered all the way to Walter Reed.
So that's
it's just like it was just amazing.
Then we have
gets there.
Okay, which
apparently
would you like to try?
Had pneumonia. Was lying to everybody to tell them that, oh well, you see.
Everybody should go to see.
I'm fine. I'm all right. Goes back, goes to the balcony on the south lawn, puts his hand like this, trying to breathe.
Okay, biggest difference in community.
Just to make a show, goes in there, and now he seems to be okay, having rallies again and promoting that he is immune now
would be
to the coronavirus.
Burger King in front of
this man is a mass murderer. And I'm saying it right here, right now. He's already killed people. It's just because it's not direct doesn't mean that it's not a death that he is responsible for.
Really appreciate that.
He does not care about anybody except for his election, and his followers are a tribe of disenfranchised,
right before Labor Day weekend.
How would I say, disillusioned white people that are hoping that somehow their dream of segregation is not going to just fall on its
really something that I feel that there's really not much you can do if
they had, and because of this, they support this man. He does a super spreader event. It doesn't matter.
Racism that we have to take on as a community.
Nobody cares. And now the whole country, get this, as of this morning, no state in the United States of America is reporting a lessening of cases. The country is surging at the beginning of the second wave. If you know anything about the Spanish flu and you show the curve, the second wave is like humongous. It's like 2 or 3 times the amount of the first wave.
Thank you guys for coming.
And truly, we never really got out of the first wave because we were too busy. We're opening up the economy. Gotta get going. This Christmas, before Christmas,
is the British Museum. It's the
before
world's
Thanksgiving,
largest world
places are going to be
museum,
locked down.
And it draws millions of visitors
Mark
every
my
year.
words.
Inside,
and it's going to be so catastrophic because we did not prepare. Anyway, maybe there is no preparation because I'm seeing Europe. Europe is going through the same thing. If you follow the
museum's recommended list of don't miss items, you'll see its star pieces.
Going
like
through the
this
same
Easter
thing.
Island sculpture that's
They are
about
now
1,000 years old, or this bronze sculpture
I
of
wish
the
I
Hindu
need
god
to get
Shiva.
some graphs for you guys because if you see the difference,
But
they went down
there's a
and now they're
problem
going back
hidden
up,
in
and
the
they're going
museum,
back up basically
and
the
we can see
same
an
rate we're
example
going
of
back
it
up. But
along
because
this
we're
route.
starting from 40,000 cases, 1,000 deaths
Out
a
of those
day,
12 pieces, nearly half have disputed ownership. The British
and they're
Museum
starting
claims
from a
those
little bit.
pieces
Yes,
belong
they're
there,
going to people are
on
going to
display
die,
for
but
the
at
world
least
to
they
see.
saved lives when they
But
could.
in recent years, many have been fighting to
We
get
would
them
have
back
somewhere
to where
to
they came
40,
from.
like 40,000 deaths if we had done what we
keeps on growing.
Should cultural artifacts return to their home countries or be
40,000
left
deaths.
in
Can you
Western
imagine? We are in
museums? The subject of
200
intense debate as to who
and
should now
16
own them.
and counting. By January, they're saying it's
Let's
going to
start
be
with some
400
context.
plus
In
thousand.
the late
Can you imagine?
1600s, the
There
British
are people
Empire
today that
began
would be alive
expanding
in
across
January.
several
That's the whole thing. You keep
It
on
became the
I don't
largest
want,
empire
that's why I
in
said we have to be very
history,
stressful
controlling
about
about a quarter of the
we
world's
have to
land and
understand.
population.
People are going to die that didn't have to die. It's not like they were going to die
During its
today.
centuries-long
Or the
rule,
people that
the
were
empire
that
took
died just like
precious
they were just going to,
resources
they were
and
not going
wealth
to
from
die. They were going to be
countries
living.
all over the world,
They were
including
going to have
cultural
Christmas.
and historical artifacts, many of which
And they
ended up
died
here
because they got a
in the British
disease
Museum,
that we did not
which was
control.
founded in 1753 and kept growing
And the federal government is purposely mismanaging the thing. I don't even understand the logic. If everybody's dying and there's all this problem, then what country is there to run?
Sold to the museum by a Duke.
Somebody said something that was very, very
the problem is with the pieces that are disputed.
And I'm a Solomon,
the first
so I
item
love
you
this
see
thing.
as soon as you walk
Somebody
in.
was giving the
Rosetta
comparison
Stone,
of
taken by
in
British
the Bible,
troops from the French
the
in
famous
what is now
story
Egypt.
of Solomon. Actually, apparently what he said was
the
in a bunch of
Parthenon
different texts,
sculptures,
like Muslim
removed
texts
from the
and some other
Acropolis in
Abrahamic
Athens by a
religion
British lord and
texts.
sent to the
Solomon
British Museum.
Story of this
Or
baby,
over
that,
here,
the story of the baby, and then
on
the
the
two
floor
mothers
dedicated to
claim
African
that
art,
it's their baby.
the Benin
So
bronzes.
Solomon said, you know what, let us cut the baby in half and give you half and give
in the
you half.
museum. The
Of course,
Benin
the mother,
bronzes are
that was
kind
the
of
real
hard
mother,
to
said,
categorize because
no,
they include
it's all
such
right,
a
let her
huge
have the
range
baby.
of items, from engraved ivory tusks
And the other
to
baby, the other
brass
woman,
sculptures to
now
plaques.
lost the baby because you said, well, obviously
But
this is
they
the
were
real
all
mother because
produced
the mother
here
loves
in the Kingdom of Benin,
the child
in
more.
present-day Nigeria. This wealthy
That's
and
why
industrious kingdom produced
want the baby to
thousands
die.
of objects and art pieces
Now,
starting in the
what the moral of
1500s.
that story
A
is,
lot of
like,
the
see,
items
if
adorned
you are
palace
going,
walls and were used for religious
say,
rituals. But
if
they
you're
weren't
going to
just
tear the
decorative.
country down,
visual archives
with, going into
in
coronavirus,
a
everybody's saying the way you're dealing with the coronavirus is wrong. But you
written,
cannot, I don't know why you can't just say,
script
oh,
as
well,
we know
let's see what
them.
other people
That's
are doing.
Professor
And maybe
Chika
this will get me
Okeke-Agulu,
elected. And he
an
would
art
have that
historian and professor from Nigeria who teaches at
He has
Princeton
just done the right
University.
thing. Take care of
Told their
America,
history, how they
not
narrated
just yourself.
the histories of
If you had taken care of
kingship,
America, this
of the
man would have been
kingdom,
still the president.
its
Because,
political
I mean,
and
nobody
social
is,
life.
what I keep on
But
trying to tell
in
people,
1897,
people don't understand.
Benin would lose thousands of
We
these
would have been
cultural
so, I mean, if nobody can blame
At the
anybody,
time,
this is the
European
pandemic.
colonial powers were
But
expanding
if you
south
do what
in
everybody
was
else is
called
doing
the
and you can
Scramble
see that
for
you
Africa.
tried your best,
They split
everybody's
the
going to give
continent
you another
into
chance.
spheres of influence
But
for
when
financial
the
exploitation.
science is telling
All
you
these pink
everything
areas
that you
were the
need
British
to
ones.
hear.
Benin, over here, was in Britain's sphere of influence.
The science is
but the
giving you
kingdom
all the
didn't comply
direction
with Britain's
that
trade
you
demands.
need.
And in
But you
January
just
of
don't wanna listen.
1897, it led to what was
Then,
called
I mean,
the Benin disaster,
there's only
where
so
Benin
much that
guards
there's only
killed
so
7
much
British
that can happen.
emissaries, plus their many guides and servants.
Hmm?
In response, 1,200
There's so
British
much that
troops
can happen.
embarked on a mission called the Benin Punitive Expedition.
And this
The British
misinformation
wanted revenge,
has become,
but the mission was
in my
about more
opinion,
than just that.
the
There were
number
reports of
one
these
thing
vast
that we have to
treasures
fight.
in the palace of
That's
the
why I
King
do
of
this show
Benin.
every week, just
And
to
that
give you
if
guys
they
an
could
update.
retrieve
People
these
on Afro
treasures,
Search, people on Facebook Live.
sales from it would
Thank you for your
offset
messages
the
and
cost
everything
of
that
the
you send
invasion.
me.
This was all well
I
planned.
do it because I
the
have to do
expedition,
something.
in other words, was also
That's the number
an
one
economic
question I
enterprise.
ask. That's why I'm answering it.
The British soldiers,
I have
armed
to
with
do
machine
something.
guns,
I cannot
conquered
sit
the
down
city
here.
and
I'm on
burned it to the
vacation in
ground,
Texas
but not
as we
before
speak.
carefully taking
Seeing my
thousands
mom
of
and everybody I haven't
artifacts.
seen them in
They
ages.
piled them up neatly, photographed them, and
Celebrating
even
my
labeled
son's
them loot.
birthday this
This
weekend.
photo, taken at the Benin Palace
And I could be
after the
sleeping
raid,
relaxing,
shows
but I
soldiers
have
with
to
the
do something.
dismantled plaques that were brought to the British Museum and sold
We're going
all
to talk
over the
about.
world.
We're going to talk about my
And
mom and
after
how
hundreds of
she's
years,
being a
the once
she's
prosperous
just making me
kingdom
so proud.
was gone.
But that's a
The
little bit
region
later.
fell
So
under
what's
full
going
British
on?
colonial control until 1960, when
720.
Nigeria,
Doing well.
including the city of Benin,
All right.
gained independence.
So we talked about Europe
But
in the
even though
second
they were
wave.
finally free,
And
their
so let's
historical
look at some
artifacts
leadership.
were still spread all over
Today,
the world, locked up in Western
they're expecting
institutions, like
President
the Leipzig
Macron,
Museum of Ethnology
President
in
of
Germany,
France,
and the Quai
to
Branly
give
Museum
a speech
in Paris,
to
and
his French
of
people.
course, the British
You know, because
Museum.
he has to, you know,
1995.
he has to make some
in
moves.
London.
Cases are
That was
rising.
my first time of seeing
Hospitalization is already up in France. They
ancient
can see the
Benin
writing on the wall. The science is
artwork.
telling them in
Was,
another
yes,
couple of weeks,
at the British
boy,
Museum.
it's going to be
Being
crazy
in the
in France.
presence of
So what they
these
said, so he has to make some
magnificent
moves.
objects,
He has
and
to
knowing
be a
that
leader.
I had to travel all the
He has
way
to
from
bring
Nigeria to see
the
for the
country
first
along.
time these
So what does he
objects. It was
do?
a mixture of
Having a discuss,
pride
he's
in
having
the
like a, you know, a national
of
televised
these ancient artists and
broadcast to say,
mixed with a
hey,
sense of
I'm going to be
loss
doing
at
X, Y,
what
Z, and I
could
think
have
he's going to
been
announce
if
some
I only
restriction.
had to travel
You know,
a few hundred
trying to,
miles. But
because they
at
don't,
this
because of
point, you're
a second
limited
lockdown
to
would be catastrophic
those privileged
to
like me
the
who
economy.
could get a visa.
I mean, you think it's bad now, and I know once you do the research on coronavirus, I've already prepared my brain. There's no economy coming back for. And by the time it
In
comes
March
back,
2000,
what's going to
Benin's
be
royal
left?
family
Because remember,
tried
economy
to
does
change
it's not
that.
like, oh,
They officially requested
if I
all
have a
cultural
product, people need to have money to
illegally
buy that
taken
product.
be
If they've
returned to
been
the
struggling
rightful
for
owner.
1 year, they don't
But
have the
for
money.
the most part, the British Museum
All
has
discretionary
ignored any
spending will be
requests.
gone. Who's going to
The
have money
museum
to go to
is
the Celtics
restricted by
game?
a government act that
Unless somebody
prevents it
wants to
from returning
donate,
objects.
because African
But
American
it has
culture
also made
initiative
its
is doing
stance
what they
clear.
need to do for
In
the
July
community.
of 2020, the British Museum told
So,
press, "We don't restitute, but we are absolutely committed to lending as widely as possible, including to Nigeria.
The point
museum's
is the
foundational
economy,
value
and
resides
that
in
is
its breadth,
what it
scale,
is. That is
complexity,
the
and unity, and as such,
coronavirus
is a true
versus
library
economy.
of the world."
You
Chika
can't.
doesn't
At
see
this
it that
point,
way.
especially during the
British
flu
Museum still
season,
behaves like a colonial
I
museum.
just don't think
You
there is a
cannot claim
solution.
to be
And that is something that I think that is important for us
an
to understand.
encyclopedic
You know,
collector of
for
stolen
99.9% of
objects.
things that we do
But
in this
some are
life,
starting to reckon
there
with this
is
history. In
a
2014,
solution.
the grandson of this British
Right.
soldier from the 1897 Benin
do what
Primitive
you wanna do,
Expedition returned these two
and
items
then
he
you
had
can twist
inherited
it.
to the
Even
Benin
sometimes
royal
people are just
family.
lying to themselves. It's like
And
what
in
Trump is doing.
2007, the Benin
When it was
Dialogue
the
Group was
impeachment,
formed.
he could
Western
lie,
museums
twist,
that
say
hide
all
the
the other, and
bronzes
there's
and
nothing that
Nigerian
can stop.
government representatives
But
have
the
been discussing
pandemic is the
potential
ultimate
solutions ever
equalizer.
since.
He's still
But
doing exactly
as
what
of
he's
today,
doing. It's
none of
just
the
not
bronzes
working
have been returned.
because the coronavirus
But
is such a
this
stark
is just
reality
one story.
that there's really
This
nothing
legacy
you can do.
is bigger than the Benin bronzes. There are hundreds of contested items in the British
So if
Museum
he wants
with
to
their
be,
own
if he
rich
wants to be like
histories
that woman
and
that
with
Solomon
original
did not
owners
give the
trying to
daughter and
retrieve
wants to rather
But
destroy the
problem
country,
is even bigger
then don't
than
vote
the
for
British
him.
Museum. It's a legacy of
And I'm not telling
centuries
you
of
not to vote for him
colonial
because of,
power
oh,
that
this
repeats
is
itself
an
again and
apolitical
again,
show,
with
really.
different artifacts
It just
in
happens to be that
different
everybody
museums,
on one side of
because
politics is
these
on the other
requests
side of
aren't
science.
just about items.
And if
They are
a
also
foundation,
about
a
cultural
scientific
and
foundation,
historical
I
identity,
forget the name, let
and
me not say
who
the
gets
name,
to own
but
it.
there's a
This is
foundation,
a long-term
175 years.
project.
This foundation
It
has
may
been in existence.
last beyond my own
175
lifetime,
years. So
but
what's
the
that?
point is
What,
that it's now
1855?
to start that process.
Something like
We
that,
cannot wait
1850,
any longer for a next generation to even begin the
1845.
necessary task and
What,
project of
they've been around and they've never in their 175-year history, they've never endorsed a political candidate. Never. Until this year, when it's because they feel science is on the ballot. So they have to vote for science.
But it could also work out and be Mississippi.
As the browning of America continues, the cycle of hope about the future activating fears about the present, it's just going to keep going. In that, politicians who can articulate a vision of this future that is inclusive and inspiring and non-threatening, that very mixture Obama sought in 2008, they could reap massive rewards. But as long as much of the country feels threatened by the changes they see, there's also going to be a continuing and maybe even a growing market for politicians like Donald Trump.
215,000 souls that have died from February. It's not January. Well, I guess there's some people died in January.
So that's always a good video. Always a good one.
This anti-science misinformation has now gotten to the point where these guys in the White House have given up. They're going for herd immunity. Now, let me be very clear. Herd immunity isn't really a bad word. Okay. Herd immunity means that when you get to 60 to 70% of the population has had the virus in some form, now that's the important one, in some form, then the virus stops spreading as well because most people got it. It neutralizes the effect of the virus. Everybody kind of has it. Now,
do it together, so you really want to focus on multiculturalism.
The issue, the way that we're talking about it, that's the what's wrong. We're talking about herd immunity as all natural infection, and herd immunity does not mean all natural infection. Herd immunity can mean vaccination.
So like even
vaccinate people, and if people are vaccinated,
when we
will
look
get
at
to 60-70%
without
in a safe way. So without the deaths.
We're already in,
and there are a lot of deaths. Herd immunity would mean 2-point-something million people, and the doctor said it on CNN this morning. I watched it this morning. Said it would be 2-point-something million people dying. Not total.
Serious out here.
Every year for the next 2 or 3 years at least. Because herd immunity would take like 4 years to achieve.
If nobody has anything to say, I'll end everything. Please,
through the natural process.
On October 1st, it's going to be a
3
to
4 years.
I know it's kind of focusing on African
the science says that if you want to save 2.2 million people in the next 4 or 5 million people
in the communities,
then
I'll give you
our job is to wear a mask, socially distance, avoid all
way back in the day,
all gatherings. Try to stay away from indoor gathering. If you have to, make sure you're wearing your mask, washing your hands.
Wanted people to go back to Liberia just because they were having too many black people, like Mississippi was like, man, we got to get too many black people around here. Got to get rid of them.
Because of the economy.
Right?
Because the economy literally is in the toilet and is going to remain in the toilet.
And Jim Crow,
for the foreseeable future, and this pandemic will define my children's life.
When Liberia formed,
that's a heavy statement.
Civil War going up until today,
it's over
between
the economic fallout,
African American
looking for a job,
and the
planning a family,
and the Africans,
all these things my kids will be doing in the next 10 years.
And they've been fighting, and they had civil wars and everything ever since.
That the effects of this will not be felt for the next 20 years.
Mesh and come back together.
You are joking.
Is something that is just
on pause. I told everybody the timeline for this vaccine getting out will be early summer, when it'll start being where I want to go.
Immigrants have a lot of understanding that
it will most likely be 2 doses you get. What I have here, Johnson & Johnson had a huge trial, 60,000 people that they were testing with the 3rd level of the test, the vaccine, the 3rd trials. So they, testing a whole bunch of people to see if it's safe and effective.
That's something that
they halted the trial, and that was the only vaccine that could be delivered with one dose.
I can do some research, but I really
need 2 doses. It has to be in super cold storage. It's not just like in your refrigerator. It has to be in a super cold storage.
And have them,
so it's not like you can just go pick it up at Walgreens.
Bring their culture to the forefront, of course.
It is a logistical nightmare.
Let me write that down. Thank you so much.
And when they start vaccinating people, guess what? It's going to be the first responders, maybe some essential workers, not all the essential workers. I don't think they're going to be all construction workers. It's going to be first responders, old people in nursing homes, highly vulnerable, people with pre-existing conditions, things like that.
Has to be American.
We hope black people, since we're dying more.
I-N-E. Are you Native American? You really know all the...
There's going to be a whole lot of people, and kids will be last. And then you may have to go for 2 doses. This is going to be with us throughout 2021. And we're going to start seeing the ability to be normal in 2022.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Well, please, I definitely...
And due to that...
I definitely need a connection. And also to Latin America, please. I know Africa, I know Caribbean, I know
we're in trouble.
American. I do not know Latin
economically. And did I mention? I just heard today. We did not know this before. Vaccine, you'll be needed to get vaccine almost every year. It's not like you take it and you won't see it again for it's like flu shot. You'll be taking that every year.
Or I think I obviously have your email, but please send me an email.
Can you imagine?
And I'd love to connect.
Our lives have been transformed.
Thank you so much.
Is whether we want to accept it or not.
So cultural competency, like that's what it's all about.
All right.
So we have our online coursework. We have curriculum. Our curriculums.
We got to be very careful.
Cultural competency, financial.
And we've got to really take this coronavirus serious. We've got to do the research, learn how to contact trace. We're going to be releasing something with African American Culture Initiative on contact tracing.
Then of course.
Because the government can't keep up, and it's only us that can help our own communities. Listen, only us that can help our own communities. Cannot these communities cannot be helped just because it's not going to happen. We are going to have to do it. We're going to have to make sure we understand how to use the system, create systems within our communities to keep us safe. Finally, I want to talk about the moratorium on October 17th. that will be the end of protections.
So yeah, I'll be doing another. I'll be doing another
getting
red
evicted
line
in Massachusetts.
I can't tell you when because I'm doing it.
What I have to say is that you should go to the CDC website and download the there's a form on the CDC website.
On what they're doing,
this form you have to present it. You have to fill it out and present it. There's some qualifications. Did you get like pandemic assistance and that, whatever. There are a bunch of things. You fill it out and you present it to your landlord. And your landlord cannot evict you at least until the end of the beginning of next year, January 1st. That's when it expires.
To loss of cultural artifacts.
It's not, you'll still owe your landlord, but at least you'll have a chance.
Land ownership.
You'll have these couple of months to try and figure it out something out. And maybe the government, the pandemic assistance, stimulus will get back to it. The economy is really in trouble. And even the Fed chair said this last year.
Now,
last
the
week,
thing is, this is a very interesting question.
I agree. Really need the stimulus to keep the economy alive until this thing is done.
Obviously, they were.
And if America can do this, at the end of the day, other countries do not have
my email is
the wherewithal or the ability to keep their country afloat. Yes, you'd be in a hell of a lot of debt, but it's better you be a hell of a lot of debt and have your businesses still function. So once this thing eases up, you're able to rise back up faster than other countries, because other countries, they don't have this. They're just going to go down.
But one of the things I was actually trying to point out
they're just going to be wiped out.
It was really a socialist program.
I feel so sorry for some of the countries that they're not doing it well already.
You know what? Can we give black people or
moratorium? Like I said, go to the CDC website, protect yourself, share this information, because they're not sharing it. That's so sad. Like there's something that, but it's not. There's no ads to tell people, hey, go protect yourself. So people are gonna get evicted and nobody knows.
So I think the answer I would have said socialist, but everybody's got their,
It is what it is.
What is this? Which of the following
like our crazy president says. So yes, now let's move into our social justice. Of course, we're going to talk about this crazy president who's trying to win election, having coronavirus and inviting people to come to his Corona Fest, and because he wants to win, and he's losing in all the polls. I want to take this moment to say I am so proud of my people. I'm seeing people of all races, colors, and creeds out there standing in line. They know that they're being suppressed. The voter suppression is real, y'all. Come and see what's happening in Georgia. People waiting 7 hours, 8 hours to vote, 11 hours to vote.
Which of the following historical was not assassinated?
Why? Because they know that they're going to lose if you get to vote. Can you imagine? Actually, somehow this is legal. I mean,
all of them
I think that's the number one thing that I want to see.
Robert F. Kennedy
if you guys get into power, what you guys gonna do?
Because he was trying to run for president and he was
once and for all.
You see, it was
this is ridiculous.
With Martin Luther King,
what's happening in this country?
Remember, at this point,
supposedly the bedrock of our society is voting, and then you're denying people voting. You're putting one in Texas, in this county, in Texas, Tarrant County. They have one.
No, John F. Kennedy.
One for like 4 points, like in Houston. Sorry, there was one per county in the whole state. A drop-off box, and this drop-off box. 4.7 million people,
Abraham Lincoln, everybody
like in the Houston and all that area, have to go with that one.
So the thing about this question is that you realize that every black rebellion has resulted in
but yeah, the voter suppression is real.
Not the death.
And why? Because they want to stack the courts. They want to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg with, I don't even know the woman's name. She seems like a nice woman, to be honest. I mean, I know that her views are not going to be aligned with mine, but she seems like a nice woman, and I know that she's. I don't know if she's gonna be, because sometimes, like everybody thought that
to live in a yellow area, red line map.
The Chief Justice Roberts was going to be a real conservative, and he has been. So I don't know. And the woman has a Haitian. She adopted a Haitian child. So that got me. I can never, when you see somebody, a white woman that at least adopts a black child and treats the child as her own, that says something.
So thank you very much, and I hope all
and I don't want Trump's nastiness to affect her. But
thank you, Maggie. Thank you,
Jenny. I don't think that is going to be a good thing. But let's see what happens. God has a way of controlling things. So they're asking Joe Biden, does Joe Biden want to pack the courts? Which means that does he want to add more justices after to offset the majority that they have? Now, it's a dangerous road to go on. It's not what you want to do. But in a way, because of all the norms are being broken, it might be the right thing to do. Because it's not one justice, it's two justices that the Democrats are supposed to have, and they did not. And they did not allow them to have. And at some point, if you don't do that, you're really skewing up the country because you're allowing they're the ones doing the voter suppression. They're the ones breaking the law. They're the ones trying to stop us from having our rights. So there must be some sort of karma to offset that. So, but they voter enthusiasm. Oh my God. I voted last week. Massachusetts were so lucky. I mean, I applied online at the the Massachusetts Secretary of State website, got my ballot within about 4 or 5 days. I filled out my ballot and turned it back, and in 25 minutes I voted. And we went across the street and put it in the mailbox. Got pictures to prove it. And I'm so happy about it. I mean, Massachusetts is such a, I'm here in Texas now. I can see the difference. People do not care about socially distancing as much. People just don't, it's like laissez-faire. Well, in Boston, you walk into a store without your mask, everybody will be looking at you. Speaking of, like I said, I was going to talk about my mom. My mom is such my hero. My mom has not gone anywhere during this coronavirus. She doesn't even go to the store. She has all her kids. I let the kids go to the store and buy what they need to buy for her. But because she has not got her ballot in the mail and she's eligible and everything, she said she's going to go vote in person. Can you imagine? Somebody has not been out the whole pandemic because of coronavirus. But she said this Trump, she's got to vote him out. And she's going to risk her life. A woman, close to 70 years, going to risk her life because she knows what this country is about. She knows that it's not about this kind of hatred, division, madness. And there's been no better evidence than the plot that was uncovered by the FBI to literally kidnap the governor of Michigan. Now, what is amazing is that some of these people that were going to carry out this plot, they actually stormed the Michigan state capitol back early in the pandemic too. Oh no. And what are they fighting? Masks. So masks. This is what the problem is, that, there's masks, you're telling us what to do, we want to be free. Free from what? Your minds, that's what needs to be. Been brainwashed to believe that somehow there's this alternate universe that you're allowed to live in, this alternate universe that you try to create through segregation and through God's will, where the people of this country are now becoming more and more brown. And by 2045, we're going to be, they can't stand it. You are going to be ruled by people of color. And some of them can never take it. So I learned something new. So part of what these guys are doing is that they want to start a race war, civil war, all this other stuff, because they basically just the pressure of the changing demographics in America. And it is clashing with their worldview that says that white is supreme. So how can whites be supreme if we're being ruled by black people? And you're going to be ruled by black people because black people and Hispanic people are voting, and we're more. Fun fact, the last 7 elections in the United States of America has been won by the minority. Republicans have not won a political election, the popular vote. They have not won the popular vote in 7 elections. Was it 6 out of the 7 or 7 out of the 8? But 7 elections, I believe, is the number. Hillary Clinton won 3 million more votes and still lost. And it's because of all the racism. It's going to be hard. We need to open up some classes, get some little counseling. Are you feeling racist today? Yep. So people are trying to kidnap governors because they believe that they have a militia and they can, they're not going to take it anymore from the federal government. So apparently there was an interview I watched, and their idea is that there are some states in the north, Wisconsin, Michigan, to say at least, they have a lot of woods and stuff, and they want to make that their new homeland. Me personally, I'm like, you can have Wisconsin. I don't care about Wisconsin. You can have it. But I'm sure the federal government will have something to say about it. So their idea is that they're going to stay up in those hills, and when the federal government comes, they're going to be shooting at the federal government. And they're going to start a race war, and they're going to be attacking polling stations. And kudos to the FBI. Kudos to the FBI. That's all I got to say. But this rhetoric, this idea is being emboldened by the debate. Remember the debate? Stand back and stand by our president, giving instructions, marching orders to these criminals. But see, that's what happens when you are, they say, oh, well, they're criminals. Yeah, they're criminals. These are bad guys. What are you talking about? Who are their heroes? Are they not holding up the Confederate flags and saying, this is our heritage? Guess what? The Confederates, they were criminals too, the worst kind. They were treasonous. They wanted to take over America. They wanted to storm into Washington, D.C. They wanted to break the White House down, kill the president, and take over the country. That's what they wanted to do. They didn't do it, and we allowed them to say, oh, well, they were just, romantic, heroic soldiers fighting for the freedom of the world. And that lie is what these people are living. So if your ancestors were criminals and now you are still being a criminal, then guess what? Anybody, Barr and President Trump talking about there's no systemic racism in America. You explain that. You explain that to the people who had to live under redlining. The process in which every single square inch, when I say every single square inch of the United States of America has been allocated to races. You know that?
It was amazing. So yes, since then we've made,
and that's the Civil War of back then, and now they want to start another Civil War. And I've been saying this. I don't want to be like I told you so, but I told you so.
Are executed better.
Right?
I can't tell you. I am really zoomed out.
As far as the social justice thing is concerned here in the United States, just go vote.
So we're gonna just,
they're trying to suppress that. Every hour you stand in line, that is your sacrifice. That is your fight. People have died in this country for this right to vote, and you must exercise it now more than ever. Like Michelle Obama said, vote like your life depends on it, because really, bro, sis, it does. All right. Now, I will quickly talk about what's going on in Nigeria. The End SARS campaign. I'm very, very excited about it. I've frequently said that the biggest blessing Nigeria has had in the last 20, 25 years has been the advent of technology and social media. See, in Nigeria, free speech has never been condoned. It started out in colonialism when they were training us to only speak in English and not our native languages, a kind of deculturalization. a move into the military government who destroyed people like Fela, and through the mother of Fela, who people do not know. Fela's mother was a pioneer, that went to England to ask the Queen for our independence. Literally that high of a person. And they threw her out of a window because her son was talking about the corruption of the government. Right? All the mismanagement and poverty and lack of education and hopelessness that exists in Nigeria.
I'm glad you did that. So that
manifests itself
to the all the resources
in legalized
need for
criminality,
afterwards to go over the material
by some of the poorest, uneducated people in the country who found a way out by using a uniform, the police uniform, as a method to extort,
I hope I said that right.
beat up. Myself. See, let me show you my knuckles. You see, if you look on this hand, you'll see that there's a knuckle missing. That was broken by a Nigerian policeman baton. Because I forgot what I just didn't want to listen to what they had to say, because I was trying to buy something in the market, and they were harassing me because they obviously saw that maybe I couldn't speak Nigerian language. They felt I was a foreigner and they didn't want to bully me, and I didn't take it. And they just take you and they pick you up in a bus and they head out. Some of these policemen are in plain clothes, right? They are not even policemen. They're just pretending. Criminals. See, so when you have nothing, you have no money, and then they now give you a uniform. Now you can use that uniform to go out there and get money, extort things. Oh, this is your computer, this is your phone. It has, contrabands on it. I'm confiscating the phone. And these abuses, rapes, everything, because the police have guns and there is no accountability. Now, there's been because of social media. Like I said, this is the thing. See, we adopted democracy back in the late 70s, and we didn't know how to practice democracy. And democracy has some tenets.
I want to thank everybody for coming back out.
The media is how people know what the leaders are doing. So the next time you have to vote, you are informed and how to go left or right. Now that process is finally in Nigeria, because we have social media. We cannot have in Nigeria. It's not possible to have a free,
this is our second edition,
like traditional media, news stations, newspapers. One, because they're bought out and corrupted. Some of them are bought out and corrupted already, right? But mostly because the government will smash and destroy anything that in Nigeria. So they have they're so fickle when it comes to things like respecting your elders and things like that.
Keeping aware,
so if the big man walking and you're saying
kind of like
criminal,
interactive webinar,
you have to arrest him.
We're going to try to make sure that
who are you? Why are you disrespecting him? All those things are in the culture
as we go forward. So,
but guess what? The Constitution of Nigeria says I can say that you should get out and you're a criminal. And that's my free speech.
So,
another criminal,
during the time,
which is what they do here in America. So social media has given the people
our mission
the ability to one. It's all everywhere, so they can speak out on their phones. Technology has given them their voice.
To build cultural bridges.
They can speak out on their phones. They can take pictures and see videos of all sorts of things going on in Nigeria from people taking it on their phones, just like in America. With the George Floyd.
I'm the founder.
But it's decentralized. So how can the government fight it if everybody's got a phone? They can't go and knock down the police station.
Like I said,
the TV station or the radio station that's talking back about them. They can't.
Educate people about
and the information is flowing freely, and people are getting to see what's going on.
What specific projects can we ally?
And also,
look back through
social media is worldwide, and that works in two ways. One, it allows a lot of people to to know what's going on in Nigeria and see that there's actual social cultural change.
Context and
that's a big thing in Africa. Think of it. Are there any social movements like I think when they had the girls from the girl that got kidnapped in Nigeria? I can't think of like a social movement. Not because social means that people are thinking, people are trying to evolve, like we're moving forward, we're progressive. This NSAR is a very big, huge turn of events.
Wisdom
and the social media, like I said, is the key response because it's worldwide. So it happens one way. People are going learning about Africa and what's going on in Africa outside and getting solidarity. But it also works in the other way. When we saw what happened this summer with the racial reckoning in America and the protests worldwide, Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and against racism and police brutality.
I decided to write this.
I believe that example also showed the Nigerian people that they can do what they need.
Because right now we're like in Black Lives
Matter.
Now,
is it? We all know the Nigerian leader is very crafty. They're just going to wait them out and see what happens and this and that. But nonetheless, they've declared that they're going to end SARS. SARS is like a SWAT team. It's like, special police unit that has like a little bit of extra authority. And because they have like maybe more equipment, more guns, more this, they tend to be more violent. But SWAT is supposed to be like when you're taking down a bank hostage situation, not when you're controlling your neighborhood.
And this is, like I said,
and that is how it's done in Nigeria. So we just got to
who are our cultural ancestors? Who are the people?
Be really careful there. So yeah, I'm very proud of Nigeria. I'm very proud of all the people out there giving voice to name. I've heard some very ignorant things from some of my Nigerian elite friends, which unbelievable. Like so privileged. I want my this to happen. I don't want this to happen. I'm inconvenienced. Oh, what? I agree with the. I heard this was the dumbest thing I ever heard. I agree with the issue, but I don't agree with how they're dealing with it. Okay, in Nigeria, can you please tell? I asked them a question. I said, how would you propose dealing with it? I didn't get an answer because there's no other way to do it. Just talking.
So yeah, we're going to have some polls, some surveys, so we'll fill those out, please. We're going to have question and answers. Please.
So, hey, keep it up. You got my support. I'm going to be trying to keep up and add Nigerian social justice to this. Programming.
All we ask is that you just respect
it's very important. I think that the rest of Africa will learn from Nigeria.
And, I don't have it all right
about social change and what needs to be done.
And but I'm always have
so what time do we have? What time do we have? Okay, got like 6 more minutes. So quick one with the sports. Right. Not much sports going on though. One, the Lakers won. Congrats to LeBron on his 4th championship. That's awesome.
And
I've said it. I've never been a LeBron fan. I only rooted for him one. That was when he won in Cleveland because we were going home. I thought that was really nice. But I will say this: LeBron will go down as having the best career but he's not the best player. Then another thing, COVID-19 has been affecting my Patriots. They have not played like 2 weeks. Well, they played last week, but Cam Newton could not play because of the coronavirus. I mean, yeah, he had a coronavirus. That's all for sports. I'm not going to go into too much sports today. I was trying to catch up on a lot of stuff that happened in the last 2 weeks. Like I said, I'm live here in Texas on AfroStateRadio.com. Go check them out. A few announcements. Oh, we had Colony. It was October 1st. It was a great show. We had about 40 people in attendance. We talked about Nigerian history. That was a great show. A great webinar. So I hope you guys can see that. We had protests. The protests went fantastic. I had about 60 people that came out. And we protested for about 2 hours. We got our point across, and a lot of noise was made, and we're very excited about it. Very excited about the recognition. We're getting a lot of feedback from a lot of higher places, so don't worry. Afro-American One, we're still banging hard for Hyde Park, right? And then, yeah, coming up, October 29th, our next webinar is going to be Live the New Competition. I have a $300 African Ancestry test. I need you to go to the website and sign up so you can win this thing. So we're going to have a webinar October 29th, so hope to see you there. Remember, all you got to do is sign up. You got to be 18, you got to be in Boston to get a learning test. And we can learn where you come from in Africa. Come learn your African another thing, we have African Heritage Cooking for the holidays. This is our partnership with Old Ways and we're going to be teaching about cooking and how to cook. We have a mafe and a dish that'll be Wednesday, November 8th. January, cultural programs, online education, project management, and planning, financial literacy, and Visit Black History, pop-up, we got more classes ready to go, so please, go to our website, send me an email, sign up for probably here, online, so it's going to be like, right? You want to support us, you do it for some of the kids that have activities, organized sports, we have to organize sports, let us know. Mentors, have somebody shadow you, learn how to trade. Hey, let us know. We want to get some kids in our Hyde Park. Lastly, please go out and vote. I told you what my mom is doing, my hero. So she's gonna, if she can go brave it at her age, then you can go and do it. And she's gonna stand in line for hours. So you can do it too. Don't let me come and slap you.
That went to Brazil.
So thank you so much for attending another episode of Village Square. Like I said, hey, register on Afro-American One, and you can be here and join me and discuss. We're gonna have a lot of great discussions coming up for the end of this year. Got a lot of great people coming on board, so let's get I'm looking forward to it. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Like I said, once again, shout out to everybody on afrosurgeradio.com, everybody following on Facebook Live,
the murder of George Floyd.
Hey, keep hope alive. Really, everybody, God is the only one in control, whether you're in America or Nigeria. So let us just keep positive, keep strong, do the right thing, care for our fellow man, and all be well. I'm not really worried, but we just gotta make sure that we get the job done.
Saw the whole video. One thing I tell people now,
have a good
one.
Like, see you next week.
Was so crazy, like it was like not even just like one video. It was like 8 videos from